Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. The innovative rent-to-own housing project launched in St. Lucia. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 31st May 2022. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Motor Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. The St. Lucia National Housing Corporation's Investment Forum launched its rent-to-own housing concept, designed to give the average St. Lucian an opportunity to own a home. Don Nicholas of the DBS News World reports.
As the National Housing Corporation launched its rent-to-own housing concept, Chairman of the organization, Dr. Michael Pilgrim, called on financial institutions to consider mortgage-backed securities, index-linked mortgages, or insured lending as options for financing the housing project. Dr. Pilgrim favored the insured lending mechanism since insured loans are very attractive investments for financial institutions and less risky.
Because they represent high-quality assets with no risk. For these reasons, lenders would bid vigorously for them, and this results in affordable housing projects getting mortgages at favorable interest rates. The above three methods of financing all bring benefits to affordable housing projects as they result in lower operating costs and less demand for tax dollars.
The program brought together investors, bankers, architects, and other professionals, an indication, according to Prime Minister Philip Pierre, of their confidence in the success of the local economy. The new housing venture forms part of government's efforts to focus on the housing sector as a key driver of economic growth.
You would be aware that the NHC is the main government agency which is mandated to undertake business operations in housing development and to ensure improvements in the availability and quality of the housing stock in St. Lucia. Some years ago, the Department of Economic Development conducted a housing needs assessment, which revealed that the housing deficit was about 11,400 units. To address this significant shortfall, the report recommended, among other policy measures, the need for government to bring together the housing ministry, the financial institutions, and construction firms in a new constructive and workable alliance.
Housing Minister Richard Frederick lamented the acute housing shortage which currently exists in St. Lucia, with the high cost of land acquisition compounding the situation. Added to that, the construction task, he further explained, does not inspire St. Lucians to acquire their own properties. This housing project is expected to provide the impetus to overcome these challenges.
Most persons, because of that uphill battle, settle for not owning a home rather than dealing with this arduous task. This government, elected on the mantra of putting people first, has mandated your humble servant to lead the charge in ensuring that the average St. Lucian comes first, by empowering them and ensuring that as far as we possibly and practically can, to permit the average St. Lucian to get their slice of St. Lucia.
The minister sought to emphasize government's policy of catering for everyone. For the DBS News World, I'm Don Nicholas.
New budget in the Bahamas to address teachers and nurses' concerns. More in this ZNS News item.
Teaching and nursing are two essential professions in the Bahamas. In fact, for years, there continues to be a critical need for specialist teachers, and for decades, the country continues to experience a brain drain in the nursing profession, leading to a shortage. Well, just yesterday, during the 2022-2023 budget presentation in the House of Assembly, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis noted the government's plan to begin mitigating the problem.
Subject to agreement with the various unions, Madam Speaker, we have also provided funding to increase the salary of teachers. Well, that's not all, Madam Speaker. We're not stopping. We have provided funding to increase the salary of teachers, but we have also provided funding to pay what I call a retention bonus to teachers and nurses.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
A member of parliament for the Free National Movement of the Bahamas, Adrian Gibson, is in police custody, as ZNS Antoinette Smith reports.
Far from the House of Assembly, former Water and Sewerage Chairman and Member of Parliament for Long Island, Adrian Gibson, found himself here at the Central Detective Unit in police custody. Deputy Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernander confirming to press that the Long Island MP turned himself in for questioning in relation to an ongoing investigation involving the utility corporation. The surrender comes mere weeks after police allegedly seized several rental vehicles in Long Island believed to be linked to the former chairman. Mere months before that, in 2021, Gibson was under scrutiny for several water and sewerage payments totaling over $500,000 to companies reportedly owned by people he knew. Among them, the company of a woman he was once engaged to and had a shared bank account with, as well as a close relative. Now we're told that someone involved in Gibson's election campaign was sought by police for questioning over their involvement in contracts issued by the corporation under Gibson. The former WSC General Manager, Elwood Donaldson, was also invited and questioned by law authorities. Police had invited Gibson to come in, however, he was off the island, and he dismissed the rumors as false and simply an organized mafia campaign. Coming to his aid, F&M party leader Michael Pintard, who just 2 weeks ago called the probe nothing but a targeted attack. This was dismissed by Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, who said his administration was not on a political witch hunt, unlike the previous administration, saying witch hunting is not their modus operandi. We talked to the current Water and Sewerage Chairman, Sylvanus Petty, on the matter, and this is what he had to say.
The investigation is ongoing. We left it in the capable hands of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and we're just waiting on the conclusion of the investigation.
It is also confirmed that the MP presented to the Central Detective Unit with lawyers Ramona Farquharson and Ellsworth Johnson in tow. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Antoinette Smith.
The Jamaica Labour Party councillor caretaker Lennox Hines murdered. Jamila Maitland of TVJ News was on the scene to report.
I am still on location right at the entrance of the Portmore Toll, where the overhead bridge is on Hamley Park Road. That is where the incident took place sometime after 5 this afternoon. Now, what happened was that Mr. Hines and about 2 other persons were traveling in the direction of, I'd want to say, the Portmore Toll, and motorcyclists came up beside the vehicle right where the stoplight was and opened fire at the vehicle. 2 persons were shot, and as you said, Mr. Hines died. Another passenger who was in the vehicle was taken to hospital, and the 3rd passenger escaped injuries. Now, according to the police, they believe that Mr. Hines was possibly trailed. He worked in this general vicinity. However, the information right now is not clear, and they're actually on scene.
The rollout of the pediatric Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines to children between the ages of 5 and 11 years old began on Wednesday in Trinidad and Tobago at a number of vaccination sites across the country.
On January 21st, 2022, the Strategic Advisory Group of experts attached to the World Health Organization recommended using the pediatric Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine for this age group. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parasuram explained that the dosage is lower than what is recommended for the 12 to 18 age group.
And it actually is a lower dosage than that authorized for persons 12 years and older. children to be given 2 doses at 10 micrograms, the adult, which is 0.2 mils each. This is opposed to 30 micrograms, 3 times the dosage which is given to 12 and above.
The second dose is to be given 4 to 8 weeks after the first dose. Dr. Parasram is urging parents desirous of getting their children inoculated against COVID-19 to have their children medically assessed before doing so. He also outlined some of the side effects.
Fever, which usually lasts a day or 2, pain at the injection site, and some tiredness. Very rare complications, myocarditis and pericarditis, similar to the 12 and above, hypersensitivity, and of course, in terms of contraindications, a history of anaphylaxis or allergic type reactions to any component of the vaccine.
The Assembly of Caribbean People is calling on CARICOM heads to boycott the Summit of the Americas due to take place in Los Angeles from June 6th to the 10th. An open letter to the heads was released by the Assembly's representative in Trinidad and Tobago, David Abdullah. Joel Brown of TV6 News has that report.
The Assembly of Caribbean People has written to CARICOM heads of government stating that, unfortunately, in its view, the recent decision by some of them to attend the Summit of the Americas demonstrates an acceptance that the hosting country can pick and choose the countries it prefers to attend based on political or ideological suasion. The Assembly says all independent nations of the Americas must be included in such an international forum. The Assembly was addressing the decision by the United States to exclude Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua from the summit. It also states that Juan Guaido of Venezuela will be allowed to sit at the table as if he was the head of state when he does not hold any position in any national institution in Venezuela. The Assembly argues that these decisions are solely based on the U.S. administration's view of their preferred style of governance. The Assembly of Caribbean People is urging the CARICOM heads to maintain a united and common position on matters of foreign affairs and to boycott the Summit of the Americas as a matter of principle, to let the United States know that they will not be manipulated to serve the national interest of any individual state. Just last week, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley indicated on his return from Guyana that he and some other CARICOM heads will be attending the summit. The open letter to the CARICOM heads is signed by Trinidad and Tobago's David Abdullah on behalf of 7 others from countries in the Caribbean. Joel Brown, TV6 News.
Hubbard's Motor Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.